But it gets to be difficult, because all these brilliant people, I get this wonderful privilege to talk to, and I have to really think a lot of times about what my answers are gonna be. If I glance over at the chats too much, I get distracted or I get,
Yeah, yeah. I
derailed.
do need to say hi to Yin Yang, who's here, a friend of mine for forever from Quora and Facebook. So I need to say hi to her. But yeah, I
Awesome.
try not to watch the chat when I'm a guest, but when I am on the Daily Whatever, I am, as you know, Kat,
That
I
would
am
be good.
glued to the chat.
That is good.
Yeah,
That would be good to have somebody monitoring that. I got to talk to
I
Ellie
like.
earlier today, so that was nice.
I watched that, Walter. It was really
Who?
great.
Ellie Leonard?
Ellie Leonard.
Oh, Ellie, yes. Yeah, I missed it, but I tried to get there. I just couldn't make it.
Yeah, she put out the replay already, and it was fun. We covered some good ground, and I'm still processing. And I went out for a walk after, and that happens a lot too on these talks. I'll talk to people, and it's just kind of you absorb so much information, and then you have to kind of work through it. And then that's the source of my articles for the next week.
Exactly. I
Was
like
there
to go back and
something?
listen again the next day and hear what all happened. And I
Well,
only there were some parts of yours that I got kind of cut off. So yeah, I want to go back. You guys should definitely go out and check it. If Ellie Leonard already posted it, go back and check Walter and Ellie from earlier today, you guys.
yep, Ellie's got it up.
What I want to know, Walter, was there something really, really like that really stood out compelling that was either shocking or compelling or, really made you think from your Ellie conversation?
Oh well, I think a lot of it. I'm getting the light show. But I've been thinking about it, and I kinda talked about it with Will Fullwood too, and a lot of it came from that article I wrote, and I wanted to get Kat's impression on this. Oh, they said we have an echo. I hope, Karma said that. But I wanna get Kat's impression on
I
this
can
because
hear it too.
I wrote my article about Adam Kinzinger, and I'm like, because he's done a couple things that I don't like him saying that the invasion in Venezuela was a good idea. He said it was the right call, and I'm just like, I've been to Venezuela, and I know the people there, and all those people that were, murdered in that attack. I mean, that's heartbreaking. Just the complete disrespect for human life really upsets me. And also, the United States needs to start telling the world the reason that there's always these immigrant inflows into the United States is because the United States goes and messes around in South America with their government. So every time somewhere in South America elects a progressive leader, it gets toppled. And then they get this far right leader. And they keep trying to impose white supremacy on South America, but it's not going to work because that's not the way people in South America are wired. They're not wired to take that. But I wrote this article. I was just offering these criticisms on Adam Kinzinger, but I was saying in the article, if he wants to talk to me, I would love to talk to him about it. Let's have a polite conversation. Let's exchange ideas. But
Exactly.
but then I got all these comments from left leaning people that were telling me, well, you're just attacking him, and it's not an attack. I was saying I disagree on
It's
these
a good
points,
question.
and
Yeah.
I want some input into this. And then somebody said, "Well, you're burning bridges." And it's just but what's interesting is like, don't you see what you're doing? It's like calling Renee Good a terrorist. It's the exact same structure where they take something that's just completely not true and they attack you, and it's just because they're so committed to this narrative that somehow I'm not allowed to interact with somebody that they think already is on our side. And it's just, we've seen that this happened over and over again. The Democrats have these ineffective strategies. And us sitting on the sidelines are like, Democrats, you're going to lose the election if you do that. If you don't embrace universal health care and then other liberals will attack you and say, you're the problem now. This is the circular firing squad. And when you turn around and say, that is comply or die. And the liberals do it. They do it. And that's why we keep getting stuck with all these centrist candidates that even when we spend all this energy getting them elected, then we get guys like Fetterman who turn around and vote for the Republicans anyway. So what's the point of that? And just how do we I had
That
somebody, the last comment was really woke me up because a person they said, what you're saying is divisive. So even if it's true, you shouldn't say it. And I'm just like, what? We can't even speak truth. And so
we can't afford that
and this
in
is an
this
issue.
climate. We can't afford
Yes.
to not discuss any issue.
And this is a real
We need
issue
to be able
among
to discuss
Democrats.
all issues.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll let you guys respond.
No, Walter, there's so much where people are saying, zip your lip and hold your tongue. And look what is happening in Minnesota. I mean, in Minneapolis and St. Paul, there's so
Yeah.
much stuff coming out about they're gassing people. And, people are saying,
Yep.
oh, don't get upset about it. Don't make a big deal about it. They're just doing their
We need to talk
job.
about
They're not doing their job. They're killing people. And isn't the kind of gas they're using illegal? I mean, I think it's internationally illegal what they're using. And there's been stories about people getting trapped in their cars and having to go to the hospital. The gas that they're using has been proven to be, causing cancer. It's toxic. It causes people not to be able to breathe. People are having heart attacks and dying from this. If we keep our mouths shut, this will just keep getting worse. No,
Yes.
we have to talk. We have to speak. This is all we have right now. And as citizen journalists, it's our responsibility to talk. It is your responsibility, Walter, to tell the truth, to say what you feel is
That's what
happening.
yeah. Kat, do you have some thoughts?
it is. That's exactly. I mean, I've been teaching my kids homeschool civics the last few weeks, and I don't think most people even know what the rule of law is or what our duties. Hold on, there is. Uh, do y'all hear it? There's an echo.
A little bit of it, yeah,
Is
there's
there
some sort of
somebody?
I do occasionally hear some distortion. It didn't seem to be in the replay though, but
I don't hear anything. No.
You don't. I hear myself, or I'm just hearing an echo. It's like maybe someone's computer's on. Maybe my
Not
headphones.
mine. I don't have a computer, just my phone.
Is anybody else hearing it?
I'm on a desktop.
No.
People are saying I've
Nathan
heard
and
some people said
KK,
yes.
y'all hear
I
it?
can ignore it. It's a buzzing.
Yeah, it's bothering me.
Do you have another
Yeah.
headphone or can you go through your computer?
Yeah, I mean, I've turned everything off over here.
Now I hear a
Everything's off
squeal.
here. You hear a squeal?
I just did for a minute. What about you, Walter?
Well, not now.
No,
That
it's
last
good
time you
now.
spoke, it's okay.
It
I
just
think
sounds
it's
like there's a
gone
lot
now.
of people talking in the
I think it went
background.
away.
Yeah, there's some people in the background.
It's a weird echo. Okay, anyway, yeah, I'm still hearing it.
Carry
Anyway,
on.
this civics thing, you know, I don't think most people even know what the rule of law is. And I don't think that people understand that our civic duty is to confront issues. I mean, it literally says that I've been having them do the nationalization. Wow, this is bad, y'all. I can't. We might need to hop off and come back in.
Oh, I was
Like this, y'all really don't hear that?
are you on a telephone or what are you on?
It might be me.
Can you just take off the
It might
headphone?
be these headphones.
Yeah, take off the headphones and go
Y'all
through
go
the
ahead and talk and let me pop out.
Okay, yep. Okay, yes.
Yeah, let me turn it off and turn it back on. Hold on.
I hope we get to stay here if you do that, but we'll see.
Yeah. Yeah, well, she
Y'all go ahead and talk.
initiated the call, right?
She initiated it, so we'll see what happens. But maybe
Yeah, we might.
Oh,
We
we're
might. Oh
still
no,
there.
it's just her. Okay. So anyway, Walter, what is your thoughts about the gas that they're using
Yeah.
in Minnesota? Minneapolis and St. Paul, the green gas that they're using.
Yeah, and that's been one of my big issues is that our media has completely failed to represent what's happening and just the lawlessness that's going on and the attacks on innocent people. I've heard reports that they've shut down schools. They've shut down schools in Minneapolis, so it's
Yes.
just it's in everybody's life is ruined.
Me.
We're an hour and a half away, and my kids have been enormously stressed. And that's why I want to put pressure on people with platforms, people with power. Get there. I mean, anybody who is a well-known personality should be getting to Minneapolis, but they opine on it because all they do is they present a narrative that they've been told that they can say, and they have absolutely no interest in going there and seeing for themselves. And everybody in the United States knows that this is the way things are. And this is what bothers me. People think that's just the natural state of things, that it has to be like that. And if we apply pressure to our representatives and force them to abandon their white supremacy narrative that they one way or another seem to enable and actually have to face the facts for a change about what's happening in our lives and how our lives are being destroyed, that will be our pathway to a better future. But yeah, I need to have people overcome their indoctrinated response that makes them attack me when I just try to have a constructive criticism with somebody like Adam Kinzinger or Jeffries or Schumer or anybody. Because I'm allowed to be critical. I'm allowed to say it's not working.
Right. Right. I would love for you to have a conversation with Schumer. I would love that. Have you attempted that?
Oh, I send out emails to all these guys, but I think that's just another part of it is that I think the extreme right is happy to bring their supporters onto their shows because all they do is indoctrinate a white supremacy narrative on the right. So everything is, oh, we always blame the liberals and we blame immigrants. That's what the right does. They have these set of things, and you'll see them. And I can you hear me okay, Kat? Is everything all better?
Yeah, it's in my phone, I think. Can y'all still hear it when I'm
Yeah, that
talking?
that sounds better. That sounds
It
better.
does. It sounds a lot better.
But
I'll
I
just do it through the phone.
yeah, do
But
that.
I can still hear it through the phone, so, I
Yeah.
mean, the only way to do it is to jump out and come back. But if y'all are okay with it, what do
Yeah,
you
it's
guys
okay.
think in the chat?
It's better than it was. But I want to say this one thing because I've sat with I've tried to show videos to conservatives and just like and they were videos of police brutality against black men. And I was sitting there watching this and I was watching the conservatives as they watched this. And they weren't watching it to see what was happening. It was like their brains were on pause and then the black man would just like reach into his glove box and then the conservative would be like, "There, see?" So they were just looking for something.
Looking for
And
something.
and I mean, what is this, Cat? I mean, and I was just thinking how the right, every accusation is a confession, right? So they accuse us of Trump derangement syndrome. There was a time in the United States where they considered making racism a mental disorder, but they recognized that so many people would have it that it was just impractical, which I think is a mistake from the scientific community. But we need to be talking about this. I think we need to be viewing the right in terms of a mental disorder because they don't see objective reality. They only are waiting for proof of evidence, and we've all experienced this in classes, right? Where you get 100% on a test and a teacher just wants to find something to get wrong so that they can be confirmed in their bias that you're not one
They're
of the
bu
better students, right? And so that's what our society is stuck with.
I
Right.
was talking about this with Courtney, like, not that long ago, and I need to go back and find it. Someone had posted it. It's super interesting, is that our feelings come first, and we will take lies and manipulate situations to justify what our feelings are. So let's say you have a bad feeling about somebody. Yes, you will constantly look for what's wrong with them, trying to make your feelings correct. And it's way harder to get back on the facts of what's actually occurring because you're always having this like feeling bias. I can't remember the name of it, but it's been seen in psychology like over and over. And it's totally fascinating. I just learned about it this year and I'm like, that is it. That is exactly what you're describing, Walter.
Yeah, okay, putting it in terms of feelings is really interesting because we've before talked about, identity and ego, and I've always thought too there's this issue where these conservatives, "Oh, I'm the protector," and they inflate themselves because it's not like if you accidentally bowl a strike, right? And then you're like, "I'm the greatest bowler in the world," until the next time you roll and it's a gutter ball but then you have all that good feeling and stuff that was just a lie, it just comes crashing down because it was never true. So in terms of feeling, I think you can use feelings because that's very true on the right. They always are. If you don't do this, people are going to die. Again, though, they disregard. I mean, they keep using this law and order narrative, even though they're the ones breaking all the laws, and their leader is the convicted felon, and yet they still see themselves as the law and order group. So I just don't. How do we navigate this mental problem that the right has?
It just destroys me. I have a friend who is just so into the MAGA cult, just so in. And I try not to talk to him because it's just like talking to a crazy person. But this week, he said to me, "Oh, did you see that they have domestic terrorists in Minneapolis? And, they're sending
Yeah,
out these
ICE.
women who have children and they're gay, they're queer, lesbian, whatever. And they're threatening, the ICE people." I'm like, "What are you talking about?" This was a peaceful woman who had her dog in the back seat and her wife, and she had just dropped off her children. She did nothing to deserve to be murdered except that she was LGBTQ. I mean, oh my God, how can you say this to me? And he just went off about how I was delusional and that I hated Trump and I had Trump to rate. And I said, "I can't even talk to you. It's
Yeah.
just like I'm talking to an alien." I just had to hang up because it drives me crazy and I don't know what to do because there's so much proof. Here's this pictures of this dead woman, 37 years old, who is just And she even told the guy who killed her, "I'm not mad at you." I
Yeah.
mean, what a thing to say to somebody who's killing you.
Your
I
final
just can't even
words.
believe it.
Yeah. It's
Yeah,
horrible.
and did you see the Jen Budd interview that was on the Daily Whatever? Did you happen to catch
I
that?
haven't seen it. I've heard a lot about Jen Budd, though. Arturo knows her really well, and
Oh
so
my
that's
god, she's
Yeah.
amazing.
yeah.
She is amazing, and she was a border patrol agent for 6 years, and her initiation as a woman into the border patrol, they raped her as part of the initiation, and can you imagine? She was one of them, and they raped her, and, she talks about, can you only imagine what happens to the women, the people that they pick up and put in detention centers, what happens to those people? And if they complain too much or they get somebody's ear, they disappear. And she talked about how they have this inner organization. It's sort of like, the secret police inside the ICE, inside the Border Patrol, that covers up everything. They cover up every single thing that happens. I was watching her. She was on 2 days ago, and the replay's up, of course. And she wrote a book about it, and she was on HBO where they were investigating the murder of, someone who was, didn't have papers, didn't have proper papers, but had several children who were born in the United States. He was married to a woman for over 20 years, and they lived in the US and California, and he was picked up and sent back, across the border. He came back in, and they beat him to death, and they blamed him. They said, "Oh, we couldn't control him," and etcetera, and it
Blame the
all got
victim.
covered up, and that's on HBO. It's an actual documentary. So that whole thing has just, I have been so upset ever since I saw her. I mean, in a good
It's
way.
called Critical Incident.
Yes. Uh-huh. Critical Incident on HBO
Wow.
Max. It's from 2025. And Jen Budd is on there. She's interviewed as a former, Border Patrol person. She was high up in the ranks. She's written a book about it. And she's
Yeah.
trying to expose the horrible things that they do to people.
Yeah. And that kinda gets back to what I was saying is that there are all these horrors that even the people that claim to be liberals refuse to recognize. And, I mean, we've known the cops have been killing, young black men who have been, for minor traffic violations for decades, and
Right.
that Colin Kaepernick was kneeling for. And so I'm more and more just coming to the conclusion that for us to advance as a nation, we have to find a way to penetrate it's the liberal mind and how much of this comply or die mentality is among people that consider themselves to be liberals. And I think we have to do that self-exploration so that we're more willing to just not see everything as an attack. Like there's people I mean, in an academic community, people can have different working, theories, and they compare, and then they kind of go forward. They don't have to fight each other, and they don't have to hate each other because one person thinks one thing and one person prefers a model that's slightly different. We don't have to fight like that. And it's just, I think we've all noticed that the United States politically has shifted to the right, but I think our psyche has also shifted to the right, like on an unconscious level, because there's so much division among the liberals too, where I can't even just say, hey, Adam Kinzinger, you shouldn't have said it was the right call to illegally invade Venezuela and murder 80 people. And people are flipping out at me for saying that. And that's, I mean, just the lack of humanity. And this is another, the indifference in the United States of America to the death of people. And, I'm not that far away from Minneapolis, and there's people here just they're acting like nothing's different. And people haven't recognized that the ICE is not the National Guard. We had that in Portland and stuff. This is the Gestapo now, and they're lawless,
It
and
is.
they've been recruited by white supremacy groups, which is another thing people deny. And so we got to get the liberals activated.
Proud
Well,
Boys.
first of all,
Aren't
do
they
you guys
Proud Boys
know?
as well?
Yes,
Do y'all
KKK
know
and Proud
who's
Boys?
running Venezuela right now?
I
You
think
know
the
who they are?
Venezuelans are. I mean, the
No.
United States.
Oh
Well,
no, it's Halliburton
yeah,
and
but they
another
actually okay.
company
They're on
where
an
they're
oil.
literally running the government right now. But I think what you're talking about, to me, the through line that we all share, that I mean, because this has been psychological warfare. I mean, this was literally applied psychological warfare. So yes, everyone's been brainwashed to a degree. And to me, what we have to focus on is the Constitution and the things that we share that will bring them back to normalcy. And like I said, I mean, this is all breaking constitutional law. The rule of law isn't being followed. There
Yeah.
is a difference between secret police and law enforcement. Law enforcement protects and serves. Secret police terrorizes, doesn't show their identification, doesn't follow the law. I think everybody can get on board with it. There are things that we follow based on the Constitution that we must adhere to. And that was tonight. I wanted to ask you guys this because it's really disturbing to me. There was a guy that I've been watching the videos from Minnesota all day, and some guy just went off and was like, "This is treason. This is treason." And I was like, "Finally, yes, this is treason. Why aren't we using coup, treason, traitor, overthrow democracy? Those are four things that we don't talk about openly.
Yeah.
Why do you guys think that is?"
Huh.
I think it's fear. I think it's people don't wanna stick their heads out of the sand. I think there's the cult. I mean, think about this, Cat and Walter, of course. Donald Trump still has an approval ranking of 34%. Yes, it's terrible, but
Yeah.
34%. Who are these people that
Yeah.
approve of him? I mean, Nixon, right before he left office, had 25%. So what is this? Even Trump at the end of his last, his first administration, if you want to call it that, was 32%. And here he is, he still has 34%. I think people just don't wanna, they don't wanna be uncomfortable. I don't think they wanna address the scary things. They don't wanna look at the
Yeah.
monsters in the face.
Yep.
They don't recognize that our Constitution is a living, breathing document. It's a living, breathing thing, and we're ignoring it. We're ignoring so many things. I mean, military police, why are we not using that term?
Yeah. Well, I think they're
Yeah,
domestic terrorists. Jack made a great
they
comment. He
are.
says it's the whitewashing of American history. Well, in private schools, but it's everywhere. And actually, that brings me to a something that happened today where one of my daughters said in one of her classes, a kid started celebrating. Oh, ICE is arrested. He was celebrating this, and just in how my daughter told this story, I having been a teacher in that classroom, you will feel an extreme disinclination to just say, well, what he's doing is illegal and unlawful, even though all that you can easily argue that. But like everybody in our society is so trained, whether they embrace it actively or whether it's passively. We're all trained to accept these white supremacy narratives as like true. And that's why when Adam Kinzinger, who established himself as like the authority figure, comes up and starts saying things that I disagree with, people get all mad. Like they react because it's like, how dare I insult the all powerful father? It's that model all the time. But then, like with the school situation, I mean, the teacher, she would have had every right to say, yeah, and he's an adjudicated rapist and he's a convicted felon, and all those things are facts. But there's a disinclination to simply say those things. So even those of us who are liberals, we behave in accordance with this programming that we don't agree with, where we're passive in response to white supremacy, and then we're reluctant to offer a counter argument. And that's what we
Well,
have to change in ourselves.
Walter, it even happened last week with Michael Cohen. I mean, I'm watching people, take sides with Michael, and it's clear that Michael is not going to address this Rule 35. And he like starts talking about his grandparents and the Holocaust and and I testified for 8 hours, but we're like, why did you file Rule 35 and ask, that you'd given special information and wanted special consideration? Why did you do that if you didn't know who Epstein was at all, which he has said?
Yeah.
And then backtracked on, and he still have his followers, like, supporting that. So
Yes.
that's probably the same thing with Adam. It's like, he's on our side, let's not push him away, we need as much help as we can get or whatever,
Yeah.
when the reality is that the Democrats are equally as complicit in all the things that have been going wrong.
Yeah.
And I think that's hard for us to reconcile because it does feel like we're already losing everything, and it's like, "And now we're losing the Democrats too?" Well, yes, we are. We are losing our country, and we need to refocus. I think parties should be dead. I mean,
Yeah.
right
Well,
now
yeah.
we need to focus on the Constitution and what we have to shared as Americans together.
And I want to just say, Mason said, saw several people push back, including me. Says, and yeah, I mean, I'm just speaking in like, because there's always going to be exceptions and there's always going to be people doing different things. But I'm talking about general trends of how people respond, like in a classroom or in your daily life, people react a certain way. But we also have to take that larger picture of how the whole United States works. And like what Karen said, everybody, I mean, it's just repugnant in the United States of America that so many people would vote for just the most awful, I mean, objectively awful human being you could imagine. And And now, I mean, we have people, so many people who are sitting there. They believe the clear lie that they're telling about Renee Nicole Good, and they're acting as if that murder was justified. And just doing that makes you a terrible person. Like mentally, something's not right in there if you think that, to the point where you don't want your kids around a person like that. And and then we insist on sending our kids to schools and even have teachers who believe that stuff, who are entrusted with our kids all day long. I mean, the level of just toxic ideology in the United States and just delusion and aggression and division.
Great.
And we just don't even talk about it. And that's the worst of it. I mean, just the loss of life, and it's hurt me every time I heard. And, Americans, they're just indifferent to 80 Venezuelan lives because so many Americans are just white supremacists. So they just don't see that as people dying, and it's just horrible. It's different if we'd have invaded a country with white people. There would be, and it's just disgusting to say that and to point that, and then people deny it, and that's even worse when they deny that this problem is even out there, and so that it never gets fixed. Yeah,
Absolutely.
mediocre. That's a good word.
Well, look, they're thinking they're he's talking about invading Greenland. What happens when he gets his way to do that, because we know that nobody stands up to him.
Yeah. Well,
What
he'll run
happens?
into Europe then. That's just a bluff. I'm more worried about
Oh, the
ICE at this.
Danish aren't going to tolerate that shit.
Yeah, I'm not worried about that.
Their motto is shoot first, ask questions later, and I love it. Do that. Do that.
The whole world could serve America a huge slice of humble pie, and the whole
Absolutely.
world could discover it does not need the United States of America, and we don't have to have these trades and everything, and they could just let America sit here. All they have to do is be unified. I don't know what the level of corruption is in the world that they haven't figured this out and applied that pressure already. Start revoking visas, start kicking Americans out of European countries,
They
start doing
are.
that kind of stuff, and I think they should do that kind of stuff
They
because
are
the
starting to in
atrocities.
some
Yeah,
countries. They are starting to do that, and people are starting to boycott a lot of things. Well, look at the Canadians. I mean, they are so outraged by how they were treated. The United States used to have a huge trade with snowbirds that would come every year and go to Florida
We're
and
losing a
Texas,
lot of money.
and they have just stopped coming. People have stopped doing business. The Canadians are boycotting us, and good for them. I'm so glad,
yeah,
because they see what's happening.
yeah.
We were on a chat the other day where somebody from Denmark said, "I'm so upset that all my American friends aren't doing something about what's happening." We're like, "What can we do? We're doing our best. We're talking about it. We're writing about it. We're doing lives on Substack." And I don't think people understand that we're being held captive in our own right, in that no one understands what we're dealing with.
Yeah, I'd be frustrated looking from the outside in to the United States too. But I was watching today a video of ICE in Minneapolis and people blowing their whistles, and you know what? It reminded me of like like a herd of sheep, like innocent animals or whatever, and like a predator enters, and they're just like signaling the predator is among us.
The
And it
predators
was
here.
just so sad to watch this. Like our only reaction is be like, there he is, there he is. And they're just signaling and just,
Like monkeys in the tree,
yeah.
right? Who throw their shit down on it.
But I mean, it's about like that. And the fact
That'd
that,
be doing.
well, that's just so clear. And that we just have unacceptable media coverage, and that's why I was getting back to people like Kinzinger or Schumer or Jeffries. They've got massive platforms. They should be boots on the ground, showing the world what's happening. And the Democrats absolutely fail to convey all these horrors that are going on. They just concede as if they have to comply with the Republican perspective. And we've established that the Republican perspective is just a white supremacy narrative where they twist whatever facts are presented to them. They twist it, they look at it sideways, they look at it askew, and they blatantly lie to make
And
it
the
serve their narrative.
obsession. They're so mad. I don't know if you guys caught Lev last night on CNN. It was Scott. What's his face? What's his face? I keep calling him
Scott
Scott Kelly.
Jennings?
Scott Jennings.
Oh, that guy's
Oh,
all I'd say he's got resting white supremacy face.
Lev called him out. It was hysterical.
Good.
He's like, "It's clear that you're interviewing for Caroline Levitt's job." But like it was good. But they were shushing Lev, and he was the guest.
Oh,
And And Abby
Well,
was, like, shushing him, and he was saying these amazing things, and they were just, like, in this weird but pardon me, it was like a circle jerk of
yep,
narcissism. They all had their point, and they weren't caring about the guest that was there.
They were
And
more concerned about their hair.
yeah. I think
but
it's
no one
weird
was they were
though.
talking over each other, no one was making their point, and Lev had all these amazing things to say. He was literally in the room when they had offered this to Maduro before with Trump, when he was working with Trump,
Yeah,
and Delcy was part of it, and he was explaining the psychology of Delcy, that Delcy's way more compliant than Maduro ever was, and that's why Machado will never be in this position, even though she gave away her Nobel Peace Prize.
Why?
yeah,
Y'all,
that well, she doesn't have the
Why?
authority to do that. I don't know, maybe he took it from her and she just maybe she demanded other things.
guess
He
what?
demanded other things. Yeah.
Do y'all know when the last time that was done, when someone gave away their Nobel Peace Prize?
What?
It was to Goebbels.
Yeah,
And so the Nobel
yeah.
changed the rules and said, you can give it away, but we do not recognize it. You can give it away all day, but we do not recognize it, because what happened in Goebbels, and somebody gave it to Goebbels for that very reason, same sort of situation.
Well, yeah, I capitulator, that's what Natasha says, but and it's just people
Exactly.
like this idea, this prevalent idea, I mean, they're off the map, and all this pressure, telling me that I have to understand their point of view, and it's just like, I don't know if you caught my talk that I did with Nick Paro the other day, and just, like, growing up among it's like I've spent my whole life dealing with this, like, narcissistic, abusive
Yeah,
people, and it's just
me
and I
too.
live still in a red county, and I talk to those people all the time. I know how to deal with those people. Like, Scott Jennings, if he starts pulling his bullshit, smug expressions on you, you say, "You better stop being disrespectful right now," and you establish that, and you put him in his place, but they always wanna, like
Fully.
you don't talk to a person like that as if, "Oh, I need your approval." You never get the approval of it. You never seek out the approval. That's one of the things I learned, like, as a little kid. I wanna make my dad proud of me. He just was gonna withhold it his whole life. So at some point, you're like, "Okay, I'll just be a self-actualizer. I'll take my own pride in the things I do." So you take that power away from them. And why is it that the entire Democratic Party, it's either by I mean, it could be ignorance, it could be that they're just maliciously in on it. They should be smart enough because they all have these expensive degrees. But then the other side of this too is they're in a system where every door throughout their whole life has always been open for them. It's always been made easy, easy, easy for corrupt piece of shit people like the president. They never have any kind of resistance. And that's why when Obama was in, you're like, holy crap, this guy is amazing. He's such a brilliant speaker and everything he does is so just perfect. It's because when you're not of that privileged group, the amount of work you have to go through to get to any kind of level, it's just you have to do so much more. And so that's why the word mediocrity came up in the chat too, because it's like these people are so inept at everything, and those of us who are not in that privileged, um, fast lane to power all the time. We actually have to develop our skills. So the whole rest of the country is so much more capable. And then we just sit there with our reverence to power with this assumption that, oh, they must have power because they have merit. And once we just recognize they're just complete fakers, and you can make them challenge them to any kind of competition. Scott Jennings, I don't know, let's play a game of Scrabble right now. Let's see who's smarter. They would get their asses whipped and then they'd cheat, because that's all they can do is
And then
cheat.
the
And so it's just, you can't sit there treating them as if they're your equal when they're clearly not. And when you put them in their place and shut them the hell up, they lose all their power. So that's what we have to start doing.
Well, what
Yeah.
I've noticed when I've studied, this, and I believe it's like a culture. There's a culture of narcissism, and it's taught, and it is very much of keeping up with the Joneses. I mean, that is not a made up phrase out of
Yep.
nowhere. There's keeping up appearances where everything looks great, your house looks great, you have the right car, your hair is great, you have the best job, blah blah. You say
Yep.
your kid. This is where it would get me. People say your kids are the most important thing, but I'm telling you, the kids are like number 12.
Yep.
The way
Yep.
you look, what school you go to, where you live, all those things are way more important than your actual children.
Yeah.
I've seen that over and over in, my upper white middle class world that I grew up in.
Yeah.
And
It's
so
generational. It's
And
generational narcissism. It's generational everything. It's been passed down. It's
Yeah,
not just happening recently.
yeah,
You have
you
to go
don't
back
think
many
so?
generations and you see the narcissism and you see the
yeah.
racism and you see I mean, it goes back to the Civil War, really, right?
All the way
Even
to the
today.
Think
inception. It's the
certainly since
fun
World War II, because I
it's
think
the
so many
fundamental
people that had nothing all of a sudden got a lot of money after World War II. I know my parents came from nothing.
yeah.
And after World War II, they had a lot of opportunities because they just got a lot of opportunities. I mean, if you were educated, you were people were looking for you to be a CEO, you know?
Yeah. I was getting caught up. I was reading Natasha's comment there. It sounds like she's having
Or
an issue, so I hope she stays safe. But yeah, I mean, no, this thing goes all the way back to the inception of the United States. This is a nation, stolen land, genocide, human slavery. And
Yes,
then
absolutely.
and you were talking about the veneer, like, oh, we have appearances, and it just covers up all the horror, it covers up all the reality of the horror.
Whitewashing.
And that's
Whitewashing.
why, I mean, yeah, we're just gonna pretend we're rich and we're great, and manifest destiny and all this bullshit. So we just don't have to think about the fact that we murdered an entire, multiple populations of people living
Indigenous.
here.
Yes.
We kill, and brought all the slaves over, and then when the slave trade ended, they started their birthing centers where they were raping women and taking their kids. I mean, just the atrocities pile on again and again. They're just so awful. And so all Americans participate in this where they just take the veneer. Let's just look at the veneer. But you're not, until you pop the hood and start getting into the engine, you're never going to fix anything, right? So we just have to look at the mess, like the true actual mess that's there, and start addressing those things. But this is why it's so hard because, like I said, one of the reasons I get really frustrated with people like Adam Kinzinger is he does not platform anybody. It's not just me he doesn't platform. There's a couple little groups of like anointed people, that are also the same group. They'll talk to people. It's like, oh, let's get a diverse perspective. And then he'll talk to 5 people in his neighborhood as if that represents the whole country. And he'll say, because I talked to 5 people, that's representative. But that's just the American thinking again. We take the veneer of truth rather than the actual horrible reality because
Then the
truth is almost always
reality.
just horrible and ugly. But we have to face that to have any authority and autonomy.
Yeah, it's like a click, like being a big click. And that's one thing I want to say about Walter.
Exactly.
I have to take a moment to talk about Walter. Walter, you are so generous with bringing everybody into your platform. I've been watching you on Substack for 2 years now, and you will talk to anybody that has something that you feel that they need to say. You will promote them to other people. You platform the hell out of people. And I really, really admire you for that and respect you for that. And you are really helping citizen journalism get their feet out there, get wet
I
and
agree.
make things happen.
Well, that's
Like
so
look
nice.
tonight, look, you're with Kat and I. I mean, I'm
Oh,
so
thank you, guys.
honored.
I appreciate you guys and Natasha's being nice and Mason too in the chat. But I've learned so much and I thank you guys and thank you, Laura. But I learned so much from you guys and it's just but I think a lot of this too is coming over you know, getting through and forcing ourselves to see the hard truths. And you're only going to do that by talking to people that have had different experiences that you have. And you start, you see them as people then. And we can do it to some extent with writing, but it's so much easier with these conversations. We get to know each other better. And then it just becomes harder to overlook all those injustices and atrocities and abuses, that we've been conditioned to overlook. And that's another thing I always want to emphasize with people. It's like, it's tempting to be like, how could I get to this point in my life and have not been aware of all this suffering going on around me? And it's because every part of this society has pushed your head away from that. It's turned your head. It has filled you with all these instincts where you just refuse to even acknowledge certain things. And that's why good people will jump onto my article about Kinzinger. I'm like, let's just do this. And they'll see it as a tax, even though it's never been a tax. But you're entering into that cognitive dissonance area where
Yeah.
they've learned to see things a certain way. They've absorbed into their own sense of personal identity this veneer and this lie about what the United States of America is. And they feel when you're attacking the real problems, you're attacking them. So we all have to go through this process of deprogramming where we separate ourselves from that and we see each
Well,
other as people and we find the problems and then we advance.
I mean, that's why I came here is to discuss you guys how intense this is because
Yeah.
my family has ended our relationship. I mean, on my different families that don't even talk to each other did the same thing. I mean, they've like given up on the grandkids to maintain this cognitive dissonance instead of just looking at the truth. I mean, that they will turn away their own family. That's why I kind of came on here because I'm like, you guys, this is serious.
Yeah.
If families are turning against their own family members, then this is really bad. Like they are really brainwashed. Is
Well,
sort of what my point is. Like
yep.
this is
I need to
bad.
ask though. I need to ask Walter. Have you tried to have a conversation of why with Kinsinger?
Trauma.
Oh, yeah, I mean, I've sent him messages and stuff, but he's just not going to. I mean, I trust
We
that,
should do it, Karen.
Yeah. Have him
Let's
come
get
on.
Kinsinger and come on and let's chat because I think it's important for us
Ask
all to
him.
chat with him.
I'm gonna start
And have
tagging him. I
Yeah,
am.
tag him. Ask
I'm
him.
yeah,
gonna
let's
say,
do it.
Adam, when are you gonna talk to Walter? I will. I'm
Let's
going
do
Well,
to.
it.
I mean,
I
think how much
will.
power he has. But you know what? I honestly don't think he's ever going to respond. I mean, go ahead and try. But I
Let's
mean,
I'm going to.
Let's
it's just this
try.
establishment, and
You and me, Cat.
but I see it as kind of the same as the dug-in family that would rather go to their graves than ever even say "I love you." I wrote an article the other day, and somebody that
Wait
was
for my
it was really heartbreaking comment. I don't see that person in the chat, and that person said that I can't remember Joe. I guess it was Joe. So I don't know if it was a man or woman.
Oh, Joe.
But they mentioned how they'd broken away from this. It's like I'm not going to go talk to him. He's dying. He's an evil person, and everybody else. And this was a public comment, so I can talk about this. But and they said everybody else in the family was there just begging him. It's like before you die, would you just please once tell me that you love me once? And this guy died rather than say I love you once to his kids. So there's that level of thing out there where people become so committed, and those are things I've dealt with. And I think, yeah, I mean, how do you deprogram that is something I've been trying to I mean, I've been trying to figure it out my whole life. I don't have a relationship with my dad, and he just refuses to, accept accountability for things or see a truth. He wants to maintain his inflated self-image that isn't reflected by reality. And for me to go along with that, I too have to start not seeing reality. I have to pretend I don't see reality as I do, and that's not good for me.
You have to tolerate abuse.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like you're
It
like
is a form of
you're going to
abuse.
ignore the truth and tolerate the abuse because they're demanding that you go with their view of the world that isn't even reality. And it's I mean, I did it and I got super depressed during
Yeah.
that time.
Oh,
But
yeah.
then I realized, no, I just naturally cannot go against the truth like that because that's what my parents taught me. So
Yeah.
whatever they're doing is against what they taught me. So that's how I know they're wrong.
It's emotional abuse. It's a
It
form
is.
of gaslighting, and people who can't say they're sorry. I mean, even, even if they're not at fault, what is the problem with saying I'm sorry, to try to mend fences because you
Yeah.
can't talk if both sides are on opposite side. I'll say sorry sometimes to my husband even though I know it's his fault. I'll just say I'm sorry because I don't want to continue to fight about something that would, cause cracks that leave scars. Why?
Yeah.
You
And what
know?
sometimes it's just like, I'm sorry that you're in such a I mean, you're enduring such distress now, and it's like, what I'm sorry for this frustration you feel. And that's not stuff that you caused, but then it can get this comfort because they just want to see. I mean, there's all these different aspects where people get all knotted up and then they have a conflict with you and they get stubborn. And again, that's the issue in our whole country is people are so stubbornly insistent on just going back to some status quo. And because like you were telling the story about Jen Budd. I mean, that happened, what, 10, 20 years ago? I mean, that's how corrupt this is. ICE has been corrupt since its
Oh yeah.
inception,
No, I
and the
thought it
Yeah.
just
police have been
happened in
corrupt.
Biden. Didn't it?
Yeah.
Wasn't it just during Biden?
It
Well,
was
she's
just
been around doing this for a long time, and she's now actively investigating cases that go back to the 90s.
yeah,
She's
yeah,
actively investigating. She wrote a book, it's a bestseller, and she's actively, as we speak, investigating these cases that got buried.
yeah,
And they
and
go back to the 90s.
that's oddly enough, that's like almost a point of hope because once you peel away the layers and you see that other people have gone through times much more difficult than now. The atrocities in the United States, there's a long list of them, and things have been horrible at times. And people, I mean, like the civil rights era, the stuff that people had to endure there, where you're just not no basic protections at all. And so, we're learning from that. And I mean, I think all that history, I mean, maybe the thing everybody could do right now that would make them feel the best, just go read every book you can get your hands on about the civil rights era. Because again, there's a reason we teach these sanitized histories about the United States. It's because the history empowers you to avoid falling into those same traps. And, it's like the slave era is the history of American authoritarianism. And much of what we say about the great things about this country were put in place to try it as a fix, like a band-aid. They put a band-aid on top of the worst things. But people have known those things before, and the evidence is there. Those books they haven't all been burned. So go read all those books and you'll see. I mean, I read Reconstruction in Black America by W.D. Du Bois, and
Oh,
it was
yeah,
just
good
like,
one.
oh my gosh, history then just fell into place. And what it reveals too, how everything else you've been taught is a lie. And Will Fullwood said, he's just like, yeah, it's hard to get to that point where you recognize everything you've been taught about your country is untrue, that this country has been cruel, this country has murdered people, it's tortured people, it's exploited people. And we want to think all these good things, but we have to be responsible people. We have to see the bad too, so that we don't fall into those same traps. And over and over again, we've overcome that.
You know what? The one thing that was really telling on this HBO documentary, the story is about a man who was, without papers, who was caught after living in this country since he was a teenager. He was hardworking, built pools, had 5 children, was a very responsible tax-paying person, got kicked out of the country, came back, and that's when he got beaten to death and killed. And what his family had to do to get justice was go to the Geneva Convention in Europe, and they sued the United States on his behalf. And that's what blew it wide open. I
Yeah.
mean, we need to start bringing in, where are these other, allies we have? Why aren't
Yeah.
they helping us?
Do you have it,
Y'all,
Kat?
I just posted in the chat. I don't know if you guys have heard about the ICE list. I can't remember his name now. He's from the Netherlands, and I just found it today. But he is the guy from the Netherlands who has compiled the most amazing list of all ICE that have been taken pictures of, or anybody that has seen them. And they've investigated online all the ICE incidents. They do it by state. You can go on there and upload any of your videos. You can go. It's an amazing resource. I just put it on there. I
Oh,
just
great.
found it right before I came on here.
Oh,
Uh,
it's all the way up at the top of the chat?
Let me know. I'll send it if I can find it again. It is the coolest thing. Wait.
You know what they're finding? They're finding
Oh, here it
ICE
is.
agents are penetrating dating apps to
Oh,
look for people who might be targets, and then they're stalking them and they're
uh,
arresting them.
I just wrote an article about flipping
Here
the
it is.
script
Y'all
there.
check this out. It's amazing. Please,
What?
yeah,
Flipping the script,
screenshot this
what?
and click on the link. It's incredible
Oh, great.
resource.
There it is. Yeah. Okay. So the
Okay.
article I wrote today
The
was,
ICE
'cause I
list.
was thinking about after the insurrection, January 6th,
Mhm.
women were just using dating apps to try to tell, it's like, hey, big boy, show me your pictures from the Capitol. Then they'd send them
Yeah.
right over to the FBI.
Oh,
So, I
that's
mean,
excellent. Well, now they're flipping it. Now
Well,
they're
we could
using it
do it
against them.
flip it back
backwards.
though. We can
Yeah.
flip it back. And I think Reconstruction in Black America is the one that it's a big old book. That'll take you the rest of the year to read.
Okay.
But what I've been saying is, okay, when you're looking at Minnesota, you're sitting there, you're in Minneapolis, you're seeing these guys stomp around with their faces covered. They seem like this, y- you can't unopposable force. You have to remember, they think of power in the moment. They think they're
Yeah.
powerful because they can pull a trigger. Life continues for one person, after that. And there are consequences for those things. And this is, that illusion of power that these abusive, horrible, intolerant people seize onto. And it's the same veneer. Because if you treat somebody like crap, there's that illusion of like, oh, a high because I won or whatever, winning. That's the only thing. You have to get to the more mature high of cooperation and you know, mutual success and prosperity. And once we start remembering, ICE is forgetting that we all live in the same country, and we all have to go to grocery stores, and we have to send our kids to schools, and we have to sleep at night. What are they going to be on alert 24 hours a day? And if you're not participating, and it's like, just remind them of this because they're high on their power. They think they're above the law, but there's
I was
other
gonna
laws.
say
There's
you
laws beyond.
cannot undermine the addictive quality of what's occurring. It's the Dickamol model that I finally just finished developing. I've been working on it for 20 years,
Wow.
and I had like 4 personal things happen to me in a month, and I finally just was like, "This is a through line." There's an impulsive and compulsive need to dominate and control, and it's a high, and there's the anger and the hate of like, "I'm
Yeah.
better, you're less
Yes.
than," and it's this, like, addictive feeling, and then the only way you can keep that going is to manipulate the situation through aggression and
And cheat.
lies.
And
So
cheat.
it's dominate, control with through manipulation, aggression, and lies, so
Yeah.
it's this constant,
Yeah.
crazy,
Turn.
like,
Yep. And it's not, yeah, it's not
manipulate.
about sportsmanship. It's just because, well, this is a competition, and because, and this applies to the guy in the Oval Office. Anytime he's in a competition, he assumes he is entitled to the win because he doesn't see it as anything as merit based. He just sees it as that's his entitlement because victory is the only thing, or like this illusion of victory that he thinks and he's so empty because on some level he knows he's never achieved anything. He's never done anything. He's going to go the way of Rush Limbaugh and Charlie Kirk, where you forget the name. You forget
Right.
they even existed because they contributed nothing. And I wrote an article. They're trying to escape the thunderous echo of their insignificance, these
Ooh, I love
horrible
that.
people. Yeah, and
I
the
love
only
that.
thing, but I mean, they're an empty hole, and that's why when people say you have to understand their point of view, no, all that is throwing resources into a black hole. It's never gonna fill it up. It's a void, and it's just a waste of our time. The only thing we have to have an intervention. That's
Yeah.
what we need to do. We have to
Right.
intervene. First, we have to make them so they're
It's
not a
it's
threat
like
to
addictive
others.
behavior. You're
Right.
exactly right. It's addictive behavior fully.
Right.
An intervention needs to occur on some level.
Well, and Jen Budd said that when she was in, the Border Patrol, they refer to people not as people, but as bodies. And there's a lot of information that's been leaking out lately that they're giving
Yeah.
ICE these
The
coins.
coins! I was gonna say,
Coins.
let's
Have
talk
you
about
read
the
about that,
coins,
Walter?
Karen.
No, I haven't heard that.
I
What?
sent the video to Karen earlier.
It's like a trophy for
Karen,
everybody.
Tell them, Cat.
there was a video, help coup, status coup.
Yes.
They're working with NTN. They're all on the ground in Minnesota. And last night, some of the protesters broke into one of the ICE vehicles, or somebody that was
Right.
broken into. And they got a
Correct.
lot of the paperwork, and they found this paperwork and a bunch of these award
Silver.
coins,
Yeah.
and all the coins are like different, like things that you win based on what you've accomplished in ice.
How many
And the one that was
bodies?
most
Ah,
disconcerting had a skull and a crown and vultures on one side, and then an eagle eating a snake on the other
yeah.
side.
Yes.
And
Yes.
the totem comp, what is the
Yeah.
Nazi
Yep.
skull?
Cough. Yep.
It was so that to me, and it's
Shocking.
like, well, this is clearly the award for killing people.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and Jen said that you get elevated in the ranks for the most
For the
bodies that
body.
you get.
Yeah.
So it's a
And this
body count.
and this what this illustrates to me again is it's like the white supremacy influence in this culture is not hidden. It's everywhere. And we tend to think of it as the other, but white supremacy originated here. The Nuremberg race laws were based on Jim Crow laws. So this is an issue, and so many people, even people who in their conscious minds they think they're good people, they're trained to turn away when this evil specter of white supremacy appears. And yeah, like they've been openly using Nazi quotes on podiums. They've been doing Nazi salutes. They've renamed all the Confederate. We shouldn't have a single Confederate statue or base. And the fact that that's just considered normal just shows the level to which all of us in this country have been indoctrinated to just accept that kind of horrific abuse of other people. And remember, white supremacy is the ideology of genocide. They want to kill everybody who doesn't look like them. And then they'll just come along. And you got to remember, too, they aren't fact based. They don't look at observable reality. So if they come
No.
up with a reason to say that you're not in their group, they'll do it. So,
Right.
it doesn't, Yeah, it's beyond belief, and we just have to, well, open our eyes, those of us who are the good ones, and so
Yeah.
that's why when I'm saying to Adam Kinzinger, "Get down there and go document what's happening." People shouldn't come at me because he's one of these status quo guys who is
Yeah.
pretending as if white supremacy is not in control of the government right now, and
That's
that's
it.
exactly what's happening.
Absolutely. And that's the video game concept. You win awards for stuff.
Yeah.
It's the video game mentality. Giving coins for how many bodies, getting a crown for how many bodies that you took.
Yeah.
Y'all, I have to talk about this in a deeper way because this is why I sent it to Karen. I was trying to download this video, and as I went on to TikTok, I was watching in real time, it was being deleted. Pictures of the coins were still up, but the video of these people that had found them, it was being deleted. So I took a video, Shane sent it to me last night,
Wow.
and I took a video off my laptop thinking that I could skirt around whatever they were doing and tried to post it on Substack. It is still not on Substack. I tried for 3 hours to post this video. So this means that the government, I think, has interfered. I don't think
Oh,
it's
yeah.
on my end. I'm looking for it right now.
And that's why the oligarchs have bought up all the media, you
You
know, so they
guys, if
control.
they are this deeply controlling what we can post on the internet, okay,
Yeah, it's only a matter of time. I
yeah,
mean,
wow,
you
that
know,
is
Yeah.
disturbing.
well, we have to
Yeah.
keep
That they're called
talking. There's no.
challenge coins.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, somebody called it a kill token. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's just.
Yeah.
And I mean, you're dealing with these
Y'all go ahead. I'm going to try
sexually
to find it.
frustrated 20-year-old dudes, and I mean, they're
But
sitting
Incels.
around.
today, I
They're
heard
sitting.
something
Incels.
today, guys.
Yeah. What?
I heard that
Incels.
$175 billion has gone to ICE
It's over
that
4
came from
years.
Medicare.
Yeah. Yep. That's what they did.
Trump
And I
just
mean,
diverted $175 billion
over
to
4
pay
years, I
for all
understand.
of his
Yeah.
new ICE stuff
Yep.
Yeah.
And I
from
mean,
Medicare.
but then we always just allowed the military budget. That's been offensive, and that's done
Yeah.
nothing for us for all these
And the
years.
Department of War.
And then people forget that the U.S. police force would be the third largest military in the world. It's like, how about if we just took all that money and invested in people's basic needs, you know, and basic education and healthcare? And it's just like, instead of just the beat stick all the time, because if history has shown one thing, just beating people over the head, all that does is it drives us back, you know, into our beliefs, right? Maybe they should try to understand where we're coming from. We could flip that narrative on its head for a change.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. We need to keep talking. We need to keep this dialogue going.
Yeah.
I'm so glad you had time for us, Walter.
Yeah, I'm gonna go crash now, I think. I'm tired, but
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, all the wonderful
Well, I get
people.
up at 3, you get up at 3. At 3,
Oh,
we should be doing our lives,
yeah,
Walter.
you're a powerhouse. Go ahead, Kat.
Yeah. Hold on. Let me tell Har really quick. Yes, what I heard today was that $175 billion was recently diverted from Medicare
Oh,
to pay for all of this new ICE stuff that's going on.
yeah.
And then for these people to have found these ICE challenge coins with a skull and a crown with a vulture on one side, and then you flip it over and it's an eagle eating a snake on the other side. It clearly looks like a death challenge coin, and Jen Budd had just come out to say
Yeah.
that that is something that she witnessed multiple times
Yeah.
over many years.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
it's looking very Nazi-esque to me.
We've
Yeah.
gotta, and yeah, somebody was mentioned a government that works for the people, you know, can't have that. And that's kind of written in. And it's like, this is why we have to rethink all the way to the Constitution, because
Yep.
the Constitution assumes that there can no be good people in power. That's why
Right.
we have the division of powers. And that's why there's no mechanism in there to keep like reprehensible people from getting to power, because it was written by child rapists, you know? And
Yeah.
just calling them the founding fathers is like a nod to patriarchy and a
Yeah.
nod to white supremacy, and like
Right.
making it normal that we should all bow to the authority of these figures, you know, these white monsters that we've been stuck with all of our lives. So we have to
Hold on.
rethink
I
all the
have
way
another
down.
thing. I have another weird tidbit that I need to share. I shared it
Well,
last
hurry up,
night.
Kat, because Walter and I are fading
we're-
over here.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Really quick, you guys. The ICE agents are now only getting 47 days of training from the 47th president. It's a fully arbitrary number, right?
Yeah.
That is his police, 47 days of the 47th president. I mean, it's the only thing that makes sense. It's completely secret police business.
Yeah.
Outrageous.
Well, we got to start demanding that they, check them for white supremacy group tattoos. I mean, ICE is running around checking people for just any old tattoo and claiming it means affiliation with a gang. Every accusation is a confession. I think,
Well,
when this is all done.
the list that I just posted, Enrique Tarrio,
Yeah.
from the Proud Boys is an officer now in ICE. He's denying it, but that list just said that he is. And these are mostly Proud Boys, Oath
Oh,
Keepers,
yeah.
and the 3%ers that were fully militia before and confederated with Trump.
And Americans just pretend as if white supremacy doesn't have these massive funded would they just white Americans have the blinders on. They pretend that's not even a thing, even with the evidence of things like Project 2025 that took a whole team of well-funded lawyers to make. And yeah, I mean, when this is over, it would be good. Let's just go door to door and make every white guy take off his clothes and make sure he doesn't have Nazi tattoos.
I
And the
love that.
ones that do, they have to go into deprogramming. And it's just what ICE is doing, right? But except, for people that are actually out murdering and killing people, like all the statistics say. So we'll see though, but I hope we all survive. And
Yeah,
all
me
you
too.
wonderful people, yeah, I mean, these are hard thoughts. Thank you for being here. Thanks for,
Thank you, Walter. Thank you, Kat.
Thank you for
Love everybody. Thank you for everybody in the chat.
Friday night show. Woo!
Okay, bye. Bye.
Y'all have a good weekend. Everybody
Bye.
take care.
All right. Thank
Bye.
you guys. See you.
Bye.
Yeah. Bye-bye.